And that's going to take a hard change when it comes to culture, policy, and procedures.
Okay. Okay.
There's the NIH. Their mission is really to apply the knowledge, all right, the application of knowledge to enhance the health, which it hasn't over the past 20 years, lengthen life, which it hasn't over the past 20 years, and reduce illness and disability, which it hasn't over the past 20 years. So they got to get back to fulfilling their mission, and that's going to be a hard thing. However, doing the things I think I'm going to suggest, I think it's possible. They got to get the money out of them funding the school grants. They got to get their claws out of having patents on drugs, and they promote those type of drugs, because again, that leads to corruption and just not doing what's best for the people.
You think there'll always be loopholes where these people can come in and will have corruption?
Well, I don't know about always. I hate using the word always.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough thing to break down, because once people have power, they don't want to give it up.
Right.
And then
so
they're
there should
doing
always
a
be
fight.
transparency.
Yeah, I think it's one of the ways to go about doing it. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go through this list now. So
Okay.
What is the first thing?
Well, the first thing I think, in order to lower the chronic disease, one of his mandates is the food.
Okay, definitely.
Food.
I'm a big proponent of that one.
Yeah. Get more locally grown. Get away from the whole processed foods, the sugars, the acetos, the GMOs. Get to more of the organic foods, fresh, less additives, less dyes, because all that stuff leads to cancers, heart disease, diabetes. That's not completely a whole food. Get back to being local.
Right. A lot of people always, try to fight back and say, well, you don't know how it is to farm. And just because you farm in your backyard is way different when you farm on a large scale to feed such a big country, right? So it's like they have to do certain things to be able to grow the food, grow it fast, but also enough yield or have enough crop to harvest, because you're fighting pests, you're fighting animals, you're fighting diseases of the land, and etc. Right? So what do you say about that?
Well, because he's a part of the president's cabinet, he will have more direct access to the overall government policies and direction that he wants to send the country in. And so it's hope that he can work and help influence policies and rules and regulations to help with those concerns.
Okay.
The other thing is that with all these different medical interventions that are out there, got to understand what the risks and benefits are of those interventions. And that can only be done with properly designed studies, and that are completely transparent. And when I say properly designed, transparent, you want to have them double-blinded, randomized, and maybe overall a suitable amount of time with the right number of people, right, having placebos in them as well. So it's got to be properly designed. And then you got to also have that all out there, but then you got to understand what are the limitations of the study, who's funding the study, and you want to make sure that any kind of policy is cited by that well-designed study. Because let's face it, of all the studies out there, there's only about 5% that are actually quality. That whole industry is also corrupt, full of money and the prestige. So that's the last thing. And between that and the studies and the food, I think that's how you will begin to get rid of or lower the chronic disease.
Okay.